Yeah, hi everyone. So we are about to start in next 5 minutes. So we have a tight agenda for session 4. This is the fourth session in this track. That is AG 104. So we still have four more sessions in upcoming weekends. So we will request you, if you have not watched our previous sessions, then you can go ahead and watch the previous session recording in on our YouTube channel. That the link I have already posted in the chat, and you can also register for the future sessions if you have not yet registered. To complete the track, to complete the all the topics that supposed to be completed for this exam, you need to watch all the sessions. We will be covering different topics in different sessions. So yeah, and in upcoming weekends we will come up with some new tracks like DevOps and Architect. So do do join our Azure Talk group, so that you can get updates, and also you can interact with the fellow community members for any kind of questions or any kind of information that you may need related to Azure. So we will be also opening Q&A in between, so you can post your questions over there, and we will try to answer. But if at all we due to time constraint we will not be able to answer, then we request you to join our Telegram group and post the questions over there as well, and we will try to answer there as soon as we complete the session, or other people, because the community is like more than 7,000, and approximately 8,000 community members are there, and many people are expert over there, so they might be also get involved into answering your questions. So highly recommend you to get involved into the community as well. So yeah, let's wait for another few minutes and we will get started. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, we are going to start now. So today, as you can see on your screen, so we have the fourth session of this track, and today Vipin is going to talk about the one of the module of this track. So Vipin, you there? Hello, Vipin.
Yes, Ashish, I'm there.
Yeah, so Vipin, you can go ahead and start, introduce yourself, and let's go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Ashish. So for today's session, this is our fourth session for Easy 104. We have already covered three sessions for Easy 104, and in continuation, this is the fourth session for this particular training. Before we begin, I want to thanks all the Azure Talk core team member, the Neeraj, who is the founder of this particular community, and currently we have around 8,000 members. Uh, and there are few people who are a core team member who helped and collaborated to come together to deliver this particular session. So I thanks Neeraj for this particular thing. Then we have Ram Murthy, who is a core team member for Azure Talk, and he is an architect. He is an MCT as well. Then we have Ashish, who is a DevOps expert and architect. Uh, then I am Vipin Jha, who would be delivering the session for today, along with my co-speaker, Kritika. And our core team member, we have Kirish, who is a MCP and he is a consultant. He delivered the last session. Then we have Rahul Mathuria. He is also MCT and cloud engineer. Now, for today's session, we have Neeraj. I already talked about him, who is a founder of this particular community, and he's an enterprise architect. Then I will be taking the session for today. Along with me, Kritika would help me for a lab and showing you all the demos. Now, for this particular session for Easy 104, let me first tell you about what is the exam agenda for 104. In exam 104, If we talk about the exam perspective, the first thing that has a weightage of 15 to 20%, that is Azure Identity and Governance. So Azure Identity and Governance we have already covered in our first session for Easy 104. Then we have around 25 to 30% of weightage in compute services. We have delivered 2 sessions on compute. The last 2 sessions were on Azure Compute Services. That's also covered. Now, today we are going to discuss about the storage services on Azure. That will also have around 10 to 15% of exam weightage. So that will be the agenda for today. Post that, in our upcoming sessions, we'll be discussing about virtual networking, and then we'll discuss about the Azure backup monitoring, all those things. So that those things would be coming in our upcoming sessions. Let's begin with the today's agenda, that is the Azure storage. Now, before we begin for this learning, let me clarify this thing. Like, if you people are learning this Azure administration course, is there any prerequisite that Microsoft expect, or you people should have any understanding of any specific technologies before you go and start working on cloud? So yes, there are some few prerequisites, and we expect that people should have understanding of some of the technologies, some of the basic concepts. Like people should be aware of what is operating system, how do you install that, how do you manage that. So all these understanding will help you managing your cloud role, managing your cloud services, and to work on cloud, to be efficient, to be a good cloud administrator. It will be added advantage for the people. Then uh, people should have understanding of virtualization. It can be any virtualization, whether you know Hyper-V, you know VMware or anything. But yes, we expect that you should have understanding of virtualization. You should know what is a virtual hard disk, what is virtual machine, what is the virtualization terminologies. Okay. Then people should have understanding of network related concepts also, like what is DNS, what is IP address, what is domain, what is routing, what is firewall. So all those things, once you use on the cloud, so you can easily correlate. So if you are familiar with those things, I know that one person may or may not be expert with all those terminologies, but yes, if you are working in any corporate, if you are working in any environment, and organizations, you work with the team, you talk to the different teams. So you generally heard about these terminologies and you have some familiarity with those understandings. Then in the prerequisite, we also expect that people should have understanding of Active Directory. They should know what is domain controller, what is domain services, okay, what is authentication, what is authorizations. So all those concepts are a part of Active Directory. So we expect that people should have the good understanding on that, because that will be used at several places in the cloud. Then people should also have understanding of some backup, disaster recovery, high availability related concept understanding. Okay, so these all are some of the prerequisite that Microsoft expect that people should have to work on a Azure cloud administrator role. Now, post this prerequisite, what's the agenda for today? In today's agenda, we have some of the topics which are categorized in different sections. So the first section will discuss about the storage account. What is storage account? And then after storage account, we'll discuss about what is blob storage. The next section will be storage security. We'll discuss about what is storage security, what all different options you have to secure your Azure storage. Post security, we'll discuss about Azure files and file syncs. These are two important services in Azure related to storage. We'll discuss about that. Then finally, we'll discuss our last section, that will be how you manage your storage. So managing storage. Okay. So now begin with the first section, that is the storage account. In the storage account section, we have some subtopics what is Azure Storage, then what is storage account. And once you have a storage account, there are different types of settings, some configuration related to that. We'll discuss about that. Then what is this account, and do you need one storage account or do you need multiple storage accounts? So how many you need, we'll discuss on that part. Let's begin with the first thing. Now, in this slide, if you see, I have some of the services highlighted in this image. Okay, so in cloud, Microsoft is providing different type of services which require some kind of storage. Like database, if you are using a database, that also requires a storage service. You need to save some files, you need to save some document, that also requires some services. Okay, so Microsoft providing different types of services that require some kind of storage. Okay, if you see these first four options, that is Azure Blob, then Azure File, then Azure Queue Service, and Azure Table Services. Okay, if any customer want to use these four services, these services are grouped together. These services are clubbed together. To use any of these services, you require something that we call it as an Azure Storage account. Okay, and the rest of the services like Azure SQL, Cosmos DBs, and many other things are there. Okay, so those also use the data and those also use the storage, but yes, the uses of that is a different. The management of that is different. Okay, how you use those services, how you manage those services, that is different. Okay, now if I need to use any of these first four services, okay, these services are clubbed together and we call it as a Azure Storage account. Means if I have to use any of these services, what I need something that is called as an Azure Storage account. Now, what is the Azure Storage account? This is a set of Azure Storage services. We call it as a set of services, or we call it as a group of Azure Storage services. When I say the group or set, what is a part of that group? So there are four services which are part of that. One is Blob, second is File, third is Queue, and the fourth is Table. So for all these services, if you have to use, first we need to have one Azure Storage account. It is different from your Azure account. Within your Azure account, you would be creating one dedicated storage account to avail these services. Okay, then why we need this particular storage account? Okay, what is the benefit for that? The benefit for that is once you have a storage account, you have a management flexibility as well. You can manage them as a group. You can manage them in a group means if I create a storage account and I'm giving some kind of permission in that storage account, I want to have some kind of delegation control in that. Okay, I can do all those things in one shot. Okay, and once I'm done with that, if I delete a storage account, anything that is within that storage account, all those stuff will be deleted. Okay, and this storage account is treated as a individual resource. So it is like an Azure resource within an Azure account, and this resource then further have different types of services. Okay, so like in Azure, we need to create a resource group, then we have any resource within that resource group. Similarly, we create a storage account that will always be a part of resource group. Okay, and then you can have any services as per your requirement, that is Blob, File, all those things. Now, once you create a storage account, what happens? To have a storage account, you need to provide some of the information which is mandatory. Like what? You need to specify that this storage account will be a part of which subscription. So that is, like, these are the configuration, these are the settings that we need to specify every time when we create a new storage account. So what we need to specify, we need to specify the subscription. Then we need to specify that I need this storage account in which location. I may be needing it in India. I may be needing this particular service in US. So you have to specify that within Azure in which region you want this service. So you specify that particular thing. Then you also specify the performance. So here performance means what? Microsoft provide two types of performance option. One is a standard, another is a premium. When we speak about the standard, means Microsoft would be providing us a magnetic hard disk in the background. So our storage service would be using a magnetic hard disk. And when we select the premium, it means Microsoft will provide the storage service on SSD hard disk. SSD means solid state drive. So that will have better performance. Okay. So we need to select based on our requirement, based on our performance requirement, cost, budget, and all, that which one is required for our business. Post this performance, we also select the replication options. Microsoft has different types of replication option. The least one is LRS. When we say the LRS here stands for local redundant storage. So this is a default selection. It will be available. You can upgrade it, but this will be the lowest one that is available in all the plans. Now, what does it mean? In storage account, if you have LRS, it means this is a redundant storage within the same data center. You would have 3 copies of a storage, but yes, that 3 copies will be within the same data center. So in case of any hardware failure in Azure data center, you will have the other 2 copies available. Okay. Now, if you want to have this redundancy at zone level, when we say the zone level means at availability zone level within a region. So it means this gives you a redundancy at if even a data center get failed. Okay, so that is a redundancy between the data center. So if you enable ZRS means zone level redundancy storage. Okay. Now here what will happen? You have 3 copies, 3 in your primary data center, 3 copy in your other zone in a different data center. In this particular case, if your primary data center gets failed, you have a redundancy options available in the other zonal data center. Then Microsoft provide a next application strategy, that is your GRS. GRS means geographically redundant storage. So within a geography, you have multiple regions and your storage will have 3 copies in primary and 3 copies in your different data center in a different region, but within a same geography. Okay, so this gives you a geographical level redundant storage. Currently, Microsoft has added few more replication options like between the geography as well, and those things are in a preview. Okay, and in this ZRS and ZRS, Microsoft generally give you a read-only access. Okay, so in ZRS, Microsoft also has one option that is RAGRS. So in RAGRS, customer has a read-only access. Okay, and further there are few more preview options available. So Microsoft will make that thing in a GA generally available very soon. Then post application, once you create a storage account, you also have to configure access tier. Now, what is this access tier means here? Access tier means hot, cool, and archive. What does it mean by the hot, cool, and archive? Here, the hot, cool, and archive means I have different types of data in my organization. I have some document files that my organizations would be using very frequently. They work on those documents very frequently. And when you have a requirement to store some data that will be for frequent access, means the people would be accessing that data very frequently. In that case, we select the hot tier. And this hot tier, in this, the retrieval speed, the retrieval rate is very fast. So once you store the data and once you retrieve the data, it will be very quick, very fast. In every organization, they may be having some data that they just want to store. Okay, it may be some log files or something. They generally don't use it, but they want to store it. And they think that we may be needing this at some time in the future, but not very regularly. In those scenarios, if you think that you just need to store the data, but it will not be a very frequent accessible data, you can store the data minimum for 30 days. In that case, it's better to go and select the cool access tier. In cool access tier, what happened? We need to store our data minimum for 30 days. Okay. And then finally we have archive. So archive is for what? So archive is generally we select when we just need to store the data and we are not going to use it very frequently, like our backup file, our old log files. In those situations, you store it in a archive access tier. In archive access tier, the minimum timeline that you have to use means the 180 days. So you have to store your data minimum for 180 days. Now, if we speak about the cost, hot tier will be the costliest one. If we speak about the performance, the hot will be the very quickest. And if archive will be slow in the form of retrieval. Once you retrieve the data, archive will have a slow retrieval rate. But yes, comparatively, the cost will be cheap. Okay, so based on the requirement, you can segregate the data. You can have two different accounts. Okay, and you can define that this data is a hot. This data should be saved as a hot tier. This data should be saved as a cool or archive. Then in Azure Storage account, Microsoft provide you one option that is a secure transfer. Secure transfer means what? If we enable a secure transfer, the data that communicate, the data that you retrieve from Azure Storage, that will be accessible from HTTPS. Okay. The default is it can be accessed from HTTP as well as from HTTPS. Okay. But we can specify that no, we want to have only HTTPS. So you can use this secure transfer and be assured that the transfer is only from HTTPS. Then in storage account, we can also define the virtual network. The virtual network here means what? By default, the storage account is accessible from all the network. I can define that this storage service will be accessible from this particular network in my organization. Okay, so that we have a feasibility to configure. So these are some of the most common configuration that we generally configure whenever we create a storage account. Now, it's all about that storage account configuration. For your organization, do you need only one storage account or you need a multiple storage account? That will depend on the set of configuration that we have just discussed. So in this slide, if you see that I have categorized some configuration here. Okay, so here I have some categorization like I need one storage account for West US and I need one storage account for North Europe. Okay, so these are the set of configuration. Like I have one production subscription. This is also production subscription, but the location is different. Okay, so if any of these information is different, okay, you have two different type of data. You want one should have a GRS related application and one should have a LRS only. Okay, I don't want that much redundancy. So in that case also you need a different storage account. In one you want to enable the secure transfer, in one you don't want to enable it. Okay, so wherever you have, in one you want to have performance as a standard, in one you want to have as a premium. So if you have any of these information segregated, in that particular case, you would be needing a different storage account. So first we classify that what is my purpose of using the Azure storage account, what type of data I have, okay, what type of performance I need, what type of replication I need, and then I can club them together and decide that, okay, I need one storage account, two storage account, four storage account, or multiple one. Okay, and accordingly, once you have a different storage account, you can optimize your cost also, because the different type of setting will further have a different cost calculations. One storage account for every group of setting, as I discussed. Then there are a few more things that you can consider, like a data diversity. I have already explained that if the data is different, I have to keep this data in West US and I have to keep some data in North Europe. Okay, because of some compliance or some country specific compliance requirement or data specific compliance requirement, I have to use the two different thing region. Okay, then I have to manage the cost also. I can manage the cost based on the performance, based on the replication setting, based on the access tier. So I will be segregating that, and then I can manage the cost as well. Or I have a different set of data, and then I have a different admin as well. I want that one admin will manage this storage account, one admin will manage this storage account. Okay, so for management perspective as well. So whenever you have a different set of settings, okay, different set of settings, in that case, you have to create a different storage account. So these are the parameters, these are the factors that generally helps you to decide that how many storage account I would be actually needing. Okay, post this number of storage account, Microsoft has some of the things that for disk type and disk performance. So how you define that what would be the performance of your disk? What would be the measure for that, and what type of disk you actually required? For that, we first check the performance. Here the performance will be measured on two parameters. One is input and output operations. So when we say the input and output operations means this is known as IOPS in short. It means this is a mix of read and write operation. That how much time it takes to read and write operation, that is known as a IOPS. Then the throughput. Throughput means the transfer rate. So transfer rate is the second parameter on which the disk performance is measured. Means the data can be transferred at 2 Mbps or 5 Mbps per second. So what is the megabyte per second? That is the how much is the data is transferring within a second. That is known as your throughput. So these two factors will help you assessing the performance for your disk. Based on this, Microsoft provide different types of disk for the virtual machines. When we speak about the disk for virtual machine, see, we may be needing a storage for different purpose, for storing some data, or it may be for my virtual machines. Okay, when we speak about the virtual machines, Microsoft provide one as an ultra disk, that is an ultra SSD. Then Microsoft provide one as a premium SSD disk. Third is a standard SSD, and the last is a standard HDD. Here, the first three are all SSD, the solid state drive. The Ultra SSD is something new provided by Microsoft from past few months. Initially, it was a standard SSD and premium SSD and standard HDD only. Now, all three are a solid state drive. Now, what is the difference? The difference would be the IOPS and transfer rate. So if you select the Ultra SSD, you have a best performance available from the Microsoft. If you select the premium SSD, comparatively, it will give you a less performance than Ultra SSD. Then if you go and select standard SSD, in this particular case, what will happen? Comparatively, it will give less performance than premium SSD, but better performance than standard HDD. Now, based on your requirement, IOPS requirement, throughput requirement, cost and budget, different organizations select that different thing. These different types of disk are also dependent on region. When we say the region means it is possible at some region we have Ultra SSD available, in some region the Ultra SSD is not available. Okay, so it's depend on that. I'm having my storage service in East US, I may be getting this. I'm having this in some Middle East, I may not be having this. Okay, so it will depend on region to region. The availability for service will depend on that. Now, once you have the disk requirement, generally we have the disk requirement for our virtual machines. In that case, for management perspective, Microsoft classify the disk in two different forms. One is a managed disk. And when we say the managed disk, what does it mean? It means Microsoft will manage some of the tasks on our behalf. What does it mean that Microsoft will manage some of the tasks? For example, let's assume that I need a virtual machine in cloud and that will have some virtual hard disk, virtual disk. Okay, virtual hard disk is actually a type of blob service, which is like a page blob, which is stored in one container, and container is just like a folder. Okay, and that container is a part of my storage account. Okay, so generally you have one storage account. In that storage account, you have one container, and then in that container, you have one page blob. So your page blob is actually your disk blob, or we call it as a disk also, or it is a virtual hard disk. Now, if you select the manage disk option, which is generally a default option nowadays, in that case, you don't have to worry about that how to create a storage account, how many disks you would be needing, to create a container, to define it as a page blob. You don't have to worry about that. Microsoft will manage all those stuff. Okay. Then it also gives you a scalability, like within a region in your subscription, you can have up to 50,000 managed disk. Okay, but yes, these numbers and values, we should always go and check on that particular date. It's keep on increasing by time. Microsoft may have some upgrades with the count and as per your subscription. So we should check on that part. Then this managed disk also gives you availability and SLA for up to 99.999%. Next thing is, if we are going to use the managed disk, okay, we can integrate with the availability set and we can integrate with the zones. Means for my storage, for my disk, what benefit I'll be getting, I will have a redundancy within my data center, means that's a part of availability set, and I have a redundancy between the data center by using the availability zone options. So the managers can be a part of availability set and the zones as well. Post that, this also support the Azure backup, so it will be easier for you to take the backup for that. Then in disk, if your disk is a managed disk, we have a more access control over our disk. Means I can control my storage account and I can control my disk within my storage account. So I can define the permission at the disk level also. So I have a more granular level of access control on my disk. This is available in case of managed disk only. Then this managed disk also provides you a storage service encryption, which is a default available, which is a default service available in your Azure storage account. Okay. And if you are using this disk for your virtual machine, in that particular case, Microsoft provide one disk encryption service, which is known as Azure Disk Encryption, which has two different encryption option. One is a BitLocker that we have for virtual machine, which is a window-based virtual machine, and the another one is a DMCrypt. So DMCrypt is for our Linux machine. So these all are the benefits that you would be getting on managed disk. If you are not using a managed disk and you select the option as an unmanaged disk, generally it is not recommended. But yes, what would be the difference? Here you need to manage everything manually. Means you have to create a storage account, then you create your disk, you create and maintain everything manually. You also have to keep a track of your IOPS. Okay, means every test, the type of test that you are selecting will have some IOPS limit. Okay, will have some throughput performance limit. Okay, so that should not over provision your application. That should not over provision your virtual machines. So you have to keep a track on that. If you go for a managed disk, it will not be a headache for you. The another difference between managed disk and unmanaged disk is what? In unmanaged disk, you can't control at a disk level. So the security will be manageable at the storage account level. You can't have a security control at the disk level. So that is another difference between managed and unmanaged disk. Okay. And yes, unmanaged disk also has a limitations for scalability and management. So you don't have all kind of scalability as compared to your managed disk. Then the third type of disk provided by the Microsoft, that we call it as the ephemeral OS disk. Ephemeral OS disk is only for operating system. And what is this particular thing? This is actually just like your local disk attached to your machine. Okay, it's not a remote storage. It is a local disk, local OS disk of your virtual machine. Now, if we use this ephemeral disk, what will be the benefit? The benefit is just because it is not a remote storage, so comparatively, your read-write operation, your latency will be better. You have a better performance in that. In case of any reset, my virtual machine has any issue, I want to reset the image of my machine, it will be comparatively fast if you are using a remote storage. It also has some drawback. Like if my VM get failed, it is possible that I destroy my all the data and I may not be able to boot my machine. So that also has a challenge with this. There are some pros and there are some cons as well. So this is one of the cons. Like if my VM get failed, there are the possibilities that I may be losing the data as well as I may not be able to boot my machine. Then from the cost perspective, just because I'm not using any remote storage, it's on a local VM, so I don't have to pay any storage cost. Now, depending on the scenario, depending on the business requirement, in which scenario we generally use it, if your workload, if your application that is running on that machine is a stateless application, it is not a stateful. Means if the machine is down, the same application running on other machines also, the client machine can connect to the other one. There is no session persistence required. In those cases, it is fine. If it is a stateless, okay, in that case, it is good. You can select this particular thing. But if it is a stateful application, in that case, it is not recommended to use this ephemeral OS disk. Post this, the next topic that we have to discuss related to disk. In Azure, Microsoft has three types of disk related to your operating system. Whenever you create a virtual machines, so what happens? There is one disk which is known as the OS disk that has the operating system. Then the second disk that will be your data disk. So for data, Microsoft always have a separate disk. It's not recommended to store the data in OS drive. And third is a temporary disk. So temporary disk is what? It's just like a page file if you are using a Windows operating system, or if you are using a Linux operating system, in that case it is just like a swap file. So your disk roles are categorized in three forms. So when you create a machines, so generally you see one OS drive, one data disk drive, and the third one is your temporary disk. So temporary means page file or swap file, depending on the operating system what we are selecting. Okay. Finally, we'll discuss a lot of things about the different storage services, performance options, replication options. We have blob, file queue, different type of services. Okay. Now, based on that, what happens when you decide that I want to have Azure storage account? So at the time of storage account creation, Microsoft asks you, okay, what kind of storage account you want? Microsoft has categorized those options in these different categories. Okay, like one is general purpose version 2, general purpose version 1, blob storage, file storage, blob storage. Now, what would happen if I select any specific one? Whichever option I'm selecting, based on that, the further after creation of my storage account, I will have a different set of services, the different set of Azure services available to me. Okay, so if I'm selecting a storage account kind as a file storage, I will be having only a file service available. I would not be having the other like a file queue table. If I select a blob, in that case, I will have only a blob service. I will not have the other blobs. Okay, like a page blob will not be part of this. In blob, you can have blob and append blob. In upcoming slide, I will tell you that what is blob and append blob. We'll discuss on that. Then, based on a storage account kind, your performance tier also matters. So in some, you see that, okay, like in version V2, you have both the options. You can use standard or you can select the premium also. In general purpose version 1, you have both the option. But like in file storage, you have only the premium. You can't select the standard one. Similarly, the applications options also vary based on the account kind that you have selected. Okay. Now, it depends on your requirement. You can select any specific one. You can upgrade your storage account kind, okay, if you required. Currently, the topmost one is the general purpose version 2. Then next, how you can create a storage account. So there are several ways. You can create from Azure portal, you can create from Azure CLI, or you can create from PowerShell. Okay. Then you can also connect and manage it from some client libraries. Some client libraries are available for some platforms. Okay, so we are good till now, and just let's have a quick question here. Okay, so this is the first question. You can answer this question from this particular URL, that is https://q.azureeasy.com/1. Either you can open this URL in a browser or you can scan this QR code. The question is, Azure storage account includes below services. There are 4 options. Select the appropriate one.
You have 1 minute to answer this question. Responses are coming. We have also posted the URL in the chat, so you can directly click on that link and it will open the question in browser.
So just take 60 seconds of time and answer this particular questions.
More seconds. Okay, Vipin, we have the response now. You can.
Okay. So Let me show the responses. So yes, good to see the correct answer from most of the people. Azure storage account include below services: blob file, table, and queue. The rest services like Cosmos DBs, SQL database is not a part of storage account. You don't have to manually create that first. Okay, if that require like storage, SQL database may be requiring storage account, but you don't have to create that first. Once you create a database, it will happen automatically. But for these services, you have to create this first well in advance. So the correct answer, the blob file, table, and queue, these are the 4 services only available for this. Let's begin with the next section, that is our blob storage. In blob storage, when we require this particular blob storage actually. So blob storage we required when my requirement is to store some unstructured data. I have a massive amount of data, a lot of data I just want to store. Want that to be accessible from HTTP, from browser, from applications. Okay, like here you see that this is my storage account, and then within a storage account we create a container. So container is just like a folder here. This container doesn't mean like your Docker container. So when you have a blob storage, in that case you have to create a container first. Container means the folder here, and then you can upload your different types of file. It can be any kind of file, like it can be image, document, PDFs, audio, video, anything. Okay. Generally, in which scenario we generally use this blob storage? When we simply have to store the data. What kind of data? It can be like my images, document, audio, videos. Okay, you have some distributed kind of access requirement for the file. You want to stream your audio and video. Okay, in that case you can store. You have to write some log files in the for some application. You would be requiring some append operation, some logging operations for some application. You can select this. Then you also use the blob storage for your backup purpose or archiving purpose. Okay, in DRK situations, you simply store your backup, you simply upload your archive data. So these are some of the common business requirement where we generally use the blob storage. Now, when we select the blob storage, what happens at the time of uploading my data to a blob storage? There are 3 options available. Okay, I need to specify that what type of data I'm uploading. When I say the what type of data, it means it is what type of blob. So within blob is simply a binary large object. Okay, so what type of blob it is? So blob are generally of 3 types. One is a block blob, one is append blob, and third is a page blob. Now, how does it different? Blob is simply any file that you want to upload, and you want that file to be accessed by the other people. It can be your PDF, document, audio, video. Okay, you have uploaded, and the other people, other applications are accessing it. Okay, we need to be careful in selecting the append and page blob. Means append blob is selected that okay, I'm uploading this thing, this file, and this would be used as a append blob. Means I have some application which has some append operation. Okay, there is some append operation for a log, so the log will be appended. Okay, in that case we go and select the append blob. Then the third is a page blob. Page blob is what? Page blob is also known as a disk. Okay, disk or disk blob. Now this page blob is selected. Let's assume I have one virtual hard disk in my on-premise environment. I want to upload that virtual hard disk to the cloud, and then I want to access same virtual hard disk within my virtual machine in the cloud. Okay, So if I upload my VHD and select inappropriate option, means I have uploaded the blob, uploaded that VHD, but selected the block type as a blob or append blob. So file will be uploaded there in the cloud. It will consume my storage space, but I may not be able to mount it to my virtual machine, because for virtual machine mounting, you require a blob has to be a page blob. So be sure whenever you want disk to be attached to your virtual machine, or you need a storage for your virtual machine, in that case, that has to be a page blob. So these are the three different types of blob. You have these options at the time of any blob upload to the cloud. You have to select that appropriate one. Suppose that in a blob, we have 3 access tier. We have already discussed that in previous slide. Like blob provide you the 3 different access tier. One is a hot. When we speak about the hot, we select this hot for a frequent access requirement. I need to upload some data. I would be accessing it very frequently. You select that hot. If your access requirement is not very frequent and you can store it for at least for 30 days, in that case, you should select this cool storage. And if you simply need to store your data for retention purpose only, like we store our old backup files, archive file, log files. Okay, there are some organization like banking organization. They have to keep the log for even for the last 5 years and 10 years. Okay, they can't delete those informations. They might have audit any time. So in those cases, if you can retain your data minimum for 180 days, it's better to go and select the archive access tier. So these are the 3 access tiers available, and you can switch between this access tier later on as well. Let's suppose I have uploaded some data as archive and I want to move it to a cool or hot. It is possible. Okay, so that switch is possible, but yes, that will also cost you from copying from one access tier and pasting it to the another access tier. Okay, so that will have a similar kind of cost calculated. Then our next section is the storage security. That's what all security related options that we have. In storage security, we have different parameters to secure our storage. So we'll be discussing some of the topics like how do we protect our data which is rest, means stored. Then how to protect the data which is in transit when it's communicating. Then there is something called cross domain access. So what is this cross domain access? We'll discuss about that. Then we'll discuss about how you can control the access of data, how you can delegate, what all options are available. Then do we have any audit related options? Yes, we have some audit related options available. You can do the audit for your storage. Let's discuss the first thing, that is encryption at rest. When we speak about encryption at rest, what does it mean? Microsoft provides you some of the options. So when your data is stored, okay, in Azure storage, what happened? Microsoft use SSE, that is a storage service encryption. Okay, and whenever a data is written in Azure storage, the data is encrypted using this service, which use AES, means advanced encryption standard, and that is encrypted with the 256-bit encryption method. Now, what happens once the data is encrypted and you further retrieve the data? So whenever you will be retrieving the data, in that case, what will happen? It will automatically decrypt that. Using the same encryption, it will be decrypting that before it return for your reading the data. This particular service doesn't have any additional cost, so any customer can use it. Plus, this service doesn't have any impact on the performance. It's not like if you're using this encryption, so it will have some performance impact for encryption and decryption. No, it will give you the same performance. It doesn't degrade the performance. And this is some kind of service that which is enabled and you have to use it. You can't disable it. Okay, this service is enabled by default and we have to use it. We can't disable. If you have to encrypt your virtual hard disk, okay, means the disk which will be used in your virtual machines in Azure. In that case, Microsoft use Azure disk encryption. Azure disk encryption will further use, we discussed in the previous slides also, like BitLocker in case of Windows and DMcrypt in case of your Linux machine. So these are the options that generally Microsoft use for encryption at rest. Then your keys are automatically stored in a Azure Key Vault. So Azure Key Vault is a store, your keys, encryption keys will be stored. If any customer want to have their own keys, they can use their own keys as well. Instead of Microsoft key, you can use your own custom key as well to encrypt your data. Then the next thing is the encryption in transit. When we speak about the encryption in transit, it means what? Microsoft provide different options for this. One is a transport level security. You can use HTTPS. How you use this HTTPS? You can enable a secure transfer. So once you enable a secure transfer, in that case, your transfer will happen, your communication will happen on HTTPS protocol. And you can enforce this thing. So once we enforce this, means I enable a secure transfer. In that case, what will happen? If I receive any request on non-HTTPS, means only HTTP request. So that request will be denied. That request will be rejected in case I have selected a secure transfer enable. Okay. If I'm not enabling it, I can enable HTTP as well as HTTPS, but yes, that's not recommended. We always recommend to go and select for secure transfer. Okay, then what is this cross-origin resource sharing? So this cross-origin resource sharing is what? I have some application in one domain and the resources are in different domain, and you want that this resource should be loaded in that application. Okay, so in those situations, you can go and select this cross-origin resource sharing. So in my storage, I have some content and that content should be accessible from that source. Okay, so in that, I want that application should access these files only, these informations only in my storage account. Okay, and that is in a different domain. So in that case, I can use this cross-origin resource sharing. Okay, this will give you a benefit to share your data in a secure way. So the other data will not be accessible. Only the content, only the data which is authorized, that will be accessible from the authorized sources only. Then what happens in this particular case? So there is a flag which is added in your HTTP header. When any application call it using the GET request, so there is a header added which gives this particular solutions enabled for the application to make only the authorized content available to the particular resources. Post that, to secure your Azure storage account, we have something called RBAC, which is a role-based access control. We have discussed about role-based access control in our first session of AZ 104 about how do we use this RBAC, how do we delegate the control and all. Now in today's session, I'm just going to brief you that you can use RBAC for your storage as well. For a detailed understanding for RBAC, I will suggest to people, if you want to have a deep understanding on that, go and watch the first session. You will have a more clarity on how RBAC works, how you can give the access to any people based on their role, based on their profile. So RBAC is what? Generally, I have some admin who has to perform some specific kind of task. So I'm giving the access based on the role. So in your Azure storage, you can use Azure AD, you can use RBAC also for managing your storage. plus the data operation. Like on this data, what kind of operation the person can do. He can modify, he can delete. That is a data operation. He can delete and update. Or he would be a storage admin. He would be managing my entire storage. So you can use this RBAC for that purpose. Okay. You can use Azure AD for authorize and doing a management operation. This RBAC is supported for Blob and Queue storage, not for other one. Okay, Microsoft may be adding it, but currently it is for Blob and Queue. Then auditing access. Now for auditing access, Microsoft has one service which is a built-in service available. We call it as a storage analytics service. This storage analytics service is what? This helps you for all kind of auditing. Or so actually what happened, this logs all the operations for your storage. Any operation happening in your storage, it has a log for that, for every operations, and you can search that based on some filter. So when we say the filter, it gives you the filter based on authentication, based on success operation, that people has done this thing successfully, so you can search on that, you can do a filter. And based on the resource access, who has accessed this resource, so you can search on the resource access level. So these are the some of the parameters. Based on that, you can audit your storage service. You can do analysis on that. Then what is the next related to our storage security? So the next component, the next thing that we have to secure our storage is a what? That is a storage account key. This storage account key is also known as shared keys. This is also known as a shared secret, okay, or a shared storage account key. So all these three terms are same. Storage account keys, shared key, or shared secret. So all these three things are same. Now, in which scenario we generally use it? The shared keys are generally very easy to use. Why we are saying that it is very easy to use? Because when we are using this storage account key, means I would be providing a key to someone, and using that key, that person can access my entire storage account. Means it is a storage account level access. So whatever access I'm giving in this storage account, he would be having access at my entire storage account level. When I say the storage account level, my storage account has several other storage services. That has my blob, that has my file, that has queue and table. So that key will give the privilege to manage all these services. Okay. So what happened when we use this key? In using this key, you can connect whenever you would be requesting. It works on your HTTP authorization header, okay, and it to validate the key whenever anyone you would be using that key will be validated from my storage account. If the key is correct, the person would be able to access my entire storage account. In your storage account, Microsoft provide two key. That means they will have one as a primary key, one as a secondary key. It's known as key 1 and key 2. Okay, you can use either of the key for accessing our storage account. Now, what is the purpose for providing these two keys? The purpose for providing these two keys is like I have one key which is configured in some other applications, and it is suggested that we should generally change that key very periodically. So after some time, I should change that. So if I'm changing some key, in that case, what will happen if one of my application is configured to access the storage account using that key, that application will have an impact. Okay, so to avoid that impact, before we change that key, it is suggested to configure the another key in that applications. Or the other option is if I have some people who is working in my organization, that admin has left my organization. So in those situations also, it is better to change that. You should not use the same key. You should change that very frequently. And use one key at a time, keep the other key for a reserved purpose. The other option to access your storage services is a shared access signature. How this shared access signature is different from my shared secret or storage account key. In storage account key, I give the access on my entire storage account. In shared access signature, I don't have to give the access to my entire storage account. For example, I have my storage account. In that I have my blob. In that I have one container. In that I have one file which is uploaded. I want the other person or other client application should use that particular file only, that particular object only. So I can define the access for that object. So in that particular case, it's better to go and use the shared access signature. The shared access signature is just like a URI, it's a URL based, okay, which has one token. And in that, what happened? In that, you have some two main information. One is a permission, and you can specify the time range also. Means I need to generate this shared access signature, and then I specify that this shared access signature will have this set of permission, will have read permission, will have write permission, will have delete permission, and this signature will work on time bound. I can define the time bound also. Like I want that this person should access this for 2 days only or for 1 week only. I'm working with some people for one project, and I want them to access some specific file for 1 week. So you can specify that time. After that time, what will happen? The people would be using the same URI, will not be able to access that. Okay. There are two types of SaaS. Shared access signature is called as SaaS in short. So one is a service level, one is account level. Service level is generally for application purpose. So you generally use that to configure any application, and that application would be accessing some object in my storage account. An account level, which is for your user. So this is how your SaaS actually looks like. So here, if you see this URL, okay, once we generate this SaaS URL, it has some SaaS URI plus it has SaaS token. And what all information you have here, you have your SaaS URI link. Then it tells you, okay, this is a blob service, plus it tells you the type of permissions. It tells you that what is the start time and end time. You can also specify that this SaaS URI would be accessible from this IP range or this particular IP address, from this protocol, and okay, so you can specify all those informations. So this is the same snapshot for one SaaS URI plus a SaaS token. Then post this what is the next option to secure our storage? The next option is a network level security. How and what does it mean, the network level security? So when we say the network level security, once you create a storage account, what happens? The default is it is available to access from all the networks. So that is a default selection. But I want this storage account should be available from one of my specific network or one of some of the specific IP ranges. Okay, so I can specify that this should be available from all network or from a specific network. I can define it that this should be available to the public network or within my organization in this particular network. Okay, so you can specify those things. You can restrict the other options, like it should not be accessible from other network by choosing this option. Here it also has the firewall option. You can define the network rule to make it more secure. Here what will happen if you select the deny rule, the deny network rule, it means it will deny all the access. And in that particular case, you have to allow the respective thing, deny all and allow only these few operations or on these few networks and IP addresses. So you can customize that. And that is the best option also, deny all and grant the required one. So now we have a second question for all the things that we have learned as of now. In this second question, Azure storage encryption at rest can be disabled, true or false? You can answer on this particular URL, https://q.azureeasy.com/2, or you can scan it from your mobile camera, this QR code. So the question will be open in your web browser. You have 1 minute of time to answer this question. Ashish, do we have the answers now?
Yes, it's coming.
So let me show you the response now for the second question.
It's coming. It's
Okay.
approximately 40 seconds now.
Okay.
Okay, we have the response now.
So Azure storage encryption at rest can be disabled. False. It can't be disabled. You have to use it. So good. I can see most of the people have answered correctly. Let's begin the topic now. Correct answer is false. Now the next service that we have is Azure Files and File Sync. We'll discuss these services one by one. What is Azure File? What is File Sync? This Azure File is what? It's a managed file share. And when I say the managed file share, what does it mean? In most of the organization, generally people use some SMB share, server message block share. They have one Windows machine. Then they have some storage attached. They have some folder created in that. They share that folder, and it is accessible by the different departments, different people in the organization. Okay. Now it provides the same kind of service, but you don't have to manage any physical or virtual machines. You don't have to worry about any storage limitations. Generally, what happens when in your organization you create a file share or a network drive, after some time you might be having some storage limitation, that storage is full, so you have to add more storage in that. So this provides the same kind of benefit without worrying about, without managing your virtual machines, operating system. Okay. The another benefit of using this Azure file is what? You can mount that share that you will be creating here on the Azure cloud on Windows and other platform as well. So you can mount that on Linux and Macintosh as well. It's available to connect from Windows, Linux and Mac OS. Then Azure Files also has the option to link it with the Azure File Sync. What is this Azure File Sync? We'll be discussing in upcoming slide. And in that particular case, what happens? Our on-premises file server will have some data that will be treated as a cache server, and we can move that data. We can copy that, upload that data to the cloud as well. So we'll discuss this file sync, how this file sync works in upcoming slide. Plus, the next benefit is you don't have to worry about any hardware cost, storage cost to buy every time. In organization, after a few years, once a storage is overutilized, in that case, you need to buy the another storage unit. Okay, so all those things will not be a headache. Simply use it service and pay accordingly. Then, what is this file sync actually? This file sync is something that helps you to extend your on-premises file server. For example, in my organization, I have some of the file server. I may have one file server, I may have 10 file server or multiple one. Okay, and I want that the data which I have in my on-premises server should be stored on cloud. Okay, for many purpose, for my backup DR purpose, or to extend my storage capacity. Okay, in all those cases, I can use this file sync. Okay, now if you want to use this file sync, there are some requirements that the server operating system where you have your Windows file server, that should have minimum of Windows Server 2012 R2 operating system or the upper version for that. This file sync support SMB, your NFS, as well as your FTPS. Now, how does it work actually? Okay, it has some option that we call it as a cloud tiering. It's an optional feature. Okay, so first the data is cached in your server and then the data will be uploaded on the cloud. Now, in this diagram, if you see, this is my Azure file, this is my on-premises environment. So either I can directly upload all the file here using this file. Once my file sync is enabled, I'm going to show you that how does it work in my upcoming slide, how this sync works, what all are the components. So one option is simply install this sync service, do the necessary configuration, and whichever shares you have decided to be uploaded on the cloud, that data will be uploaded to the Azure file share. Okay, the other optional option is a cloud tiering. In cloud tiering is what I can define that which data will be uploaded here or which data will be cached to the local one. Okay, so that's the optional one. If I have some data which is most frequently used in my organization, I can keep it locally. If I have some data which is not very frequently used, in that case, that data can be moved to the cloud. So that we call it as a cloud tiering. Okay, here we define, okay, the data is not accessed. This file, this A and B is a file. This file is accessed last 30 days, 40 days, 90 days. You can define those options. Now, to use this Azure file, there are some components, how this file sync works. First, we need a storage sync service. The storage sync service is cloud service that we need to enable first. We need to configure. Then this sync service will have a sync group. In this sync group, we configure few things. Okay. Now, to configure those two things, you require one Azure file sync agent. this file sync agent will be installed in my on-premises file server. And the moment you install this Azure file sync agent, it will prompt you for authentication. So you need to provide your Azure account credentials to connect your Azure account. And then what will happen? The machine, the file server where you have installed this file sync agent, that is known as a register server. Okay, so sync group has something which is a part of register server. In this register server, we have some folder. That folder will be synced to the cloud file share. Okay, so that folder, I may have one folder or multiple folders. So that folder is known as a server endpoint. Okay, so sync group has one component, that is a server endpoint. Server endpoint means a folder from a registered server that need to be synced to the cloud. Okay, then this sync group has a second component, that is a cloud endpoint. So cloud endpoint is what? This cloud endpoint is a file share in my cloud. Okay, means from my on-premises file server, this particular folder will be synced to this share on cloud. So that we define in the cloud endpoint. And these two are the component of your sync group. Okay. Suppose that you have a cloud tiering that I discussed in the previous slide, which is optional feature. Suppose this Azure files and file sync. The last section of today is managing storage. In managing storage, Microsoft has several options. One is Azure Storage Explorer. This is a graphical tool which gives you some flexibility to manage multiple storage accounts from one particular window. Okay, you can manage your Azure storage account, you can manage blob, table, file, queue. In addition to that, this Storage Explorer also gives you an option to manage your Cosmos DB and data lake features. That is not the part of our today's agenda and not the part of our Easy 104. But yes, this Azure Storage Explorer gives you a functionality to connect and manage these services as well. From here, you can manage, update all the configurations of a storage account. This service is free. You don't have to pay anything. You can do all kind of operation, like you can upload data, you can modify data, you can add it, delete. Okay, all operations are available. Storage Explorer is currently available for Windows, Mac, and Linux on some respective versions. So you can check the version compatibility at the time of download. Then there is another tool which is known as a local emulator. This local emulator is what? There are two types of emulator available, and this emulator is for those people who want to experiment, who want to do test of commands and all those things. Okay, so this is not your Azure storage actually for developer and those people who want to try, okay, this command is working or not, how your Storage Explorer is working. For those people, you can download this emulator. It's a software-based emulation, and it has two emulators. One is Azure Storage Emulator, one is Azure. So Azure Storage Emulator use your local database, that is a SQL Express database or Microsoft SQL Server 2012. Okay, then Azure, which is based on Node.js, you can install it and do experiment on all the Azure related storage related commands there. Generally used for developers for testing purpose or anyone who want to experiment with the commands and don't want to impact their production environment, don't want to impact the cost there. Okay, now if you're using Azure Storage Explorer, you have to connect your Azure account. To connect your Azure account, there are several options. One, you can connect from Azure Active Directory credentials, or you can use a connection string, that is a storage account secret, or you can use a SAS signature. We discussed this in previous slides. You can define an event key, plus from a local emulator, you can connect your Azure account, Azure storage account, that is also feasible. Plus Azure Cosmos DB from a connection string. So if you are using a Cosmos DB, in that Cosmos DB, you can generate your connection string and connect your Azure account. If your organization using data lake, that also has a URI to connect. So the Cosmos DB data lake is not the agenda of today's thing, but yes, you can use Azure Storage Explorer to connect these services as well. To work on your Azure Storage services, generally people require two types of permission. One is a management permission, that's what kind of management activity you can perform, plus a data permission that you have a access of data or not. So these two permissions will be required. Then there are some more services related to storage. One is Azure import export. In which scenario we use the import export? I have large amount of data to upload on cloud. Okay, if I upload the data over the internet, that may take longer time. So Microsoft provide one service which is Azure import export service. Import means importing data to your cloud. Okay, and this particular service use one command line tool which you call it the WAI import export tool, which is a command line tool. So Microsoft provide you some disk, you use this tool, and once your data is copied there, imported, you can ship that to the Microsoft data center, and then you can retrieve your data from the Microsoft data centers. If you have a large amount of data which is in lots of petabyte, okay, in that particular case, the best solution would be to use a data box. Okay, it's a very heavy solution. It means I don't have 1 TB, 5 TB or 10 TB of data. I'm having hundreds of terabyte of data that I want to upload to the cloud. In that particular case, the best solution is to select that Azure data box. So data box is what? It's also a physical disk provided to the customer. They can copy the data in those disks and then ship it to the Microsoft. And once that disk will be sent to the Microsoft Azure data center, you would be able to access that. You will be able to connect that. They will connect that to your account. There are two options in data box. One is offline, one is online. In offline, they give you a data box disk which has a capacity up to 35 terabyte. Then data box which has a capacity of 80 terabyte, and then one is a data box heavy which has a capacity of up to 800 terabyte. And these are the offline data transfer. It means in offline data transfer you will be having some data box at your premises. Then the another is the online data transfer. In this you have two options. One is a data box edge and one is a data box gateway. So data box edge gives you 12 terabyte of as a local disk functionality, plus gateway is a virtual appliance. You can use this appliance and then you can transfer data online. So this is a graphical representation of data box. How does it work? So this is my on-premise environment. I have different type of data. I can select the online option or I can select the offline option. If I'm selecting online option, I will be selecting a data box gateway or edge. If I'm selecting offline option, I have a data box disk, data box or data box heavy. Okay, and then these physical disks will be shipped physically to the Microsoft data center, and then I will be able to access it. In online data box, I will be using data box gateway or data box edge. Okay, and it will be then communicated to the Microsoft data center, and then I would be able to connect it. So this is all about the data box. Now, this is all about the today's conceptual things. This is our third question for today on all the topics that we have discussed. So Azure Storage Explorer is available only for Windows, true or false? So you have 1 minute of time, very quick, to answer this question. Azure Storage Explorer is available only for Windows. Ashish, do we have the answers now?
40 more seconds. Yep, we have the responses now. You can open it.
So yes, good to see most of the people are able to answer it correctly. Azure Storage Explorer is available only for Windows? No, it's available for Linux and Mac also. Initially, it was available only for Windows, but that's a long time history now. Currently, it is available for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. You simply need to select the compatible version, that which is the minimum version that is required for that. Come back to the slide. Now with this correct answer of this question number 3, we'll be taking a short coffee break for 10 minutes. You can have a coffee break, enjoy your coffee. Post break, we will have a demo session. So Kritika, my co-speaker for today, will show you a demo on all the topics that we have discussed. So we have finalized some of the demos for today's session. The break is for next 10 minutes. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask a question in a Q&A window. We'll try to help and answer on those questions.
Yep. So as Vipin has said, we are opening the Q&A window for any kind of questions you may have. During the break, our experts will be trying to answer those questions. And if at all we will not be able to answer, because of time constraint, please join our Telegram group and post the same question over there. We will try to answer that. Yeah, let's meet after 10 minutes. Thank you. Vipin, can you please start the timer? Yep. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Kritika, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Ashish.
Okay. So can you please go ahead and share your screen?
Yeah. Can you see it now?
Yeah, it's coming now. I think, yes, it's coming now. Demo page. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Ashish. Welcome, guys. My name is Kirtika Gupta. I'll take you through Azure Storage Lab today. So we will perform these activities in our demo. First of all, we will create Azure Storage account using Portal. Then we will create a container in Blob Storage and we will upload some objects in that. Then we will create Azure file shares and I'll tell you how you can connect that file share as SMB from Windows VM. Then we will create Azure file sync and I'll tell you how you can extend your on-prem file server to Azure files. Then I'll tell you about Storage Explorer, that how you can connect and manage your Azure storage account from Storage Explorer. Let's start. So I've already logged into Azure portal. So first of all, we need to create a storage account. To create it, either you can click on this plus icon, create a resource, and then you can click here on storage account. You will get this page. Otherwise, you can navigate to storage account from this search bar and then click on add. You will get the same page. So here you need to provide the basic information like the subscription, resource group, storage account name, its location, all the basic information you have to provide it here, right? So in my case, my subscription is Demo Lab, and resource group, you can use existing resource group or you can create a new resource group as well. For this demo purpose, I'm creating a new resource group. So like, okay. So now you have to give the storage account name. If you put your cursor here on this eye, you can see your storage account name should be unique globally and its length can be up to 24 characters and you can only provide lowercase letters. Uppercase letters would not be allowed in this storage account name. So if I'll try something like this, so it will give me this error. So I'm giving it a name. Yeah. So the location is, I'm taking East US. You can take as per your choice. Then we have this performance option. Here it depends on you. If you need a very good performance, then you can opt this premium option. I'm creating the storage account for demo purpose, so I'm taking the standard option. In account kind, we have these three options: blob storage, general purpose V1, general purpose V2. I will choose this general purpose V2, but if you guys have selected blob storage or general purpose V1, you will always has an option to upgrade it to general purpose V2 later as well. Right, so then replication methods, I'm taking the default setting, so RAGRS. Then access tier. So by default, Azure storage account takes hot access tier. But let's suppose if you're already aware about the information, like the data under your storage account would not be frequently accessed, then in that case, you can choose cool option. So right now I'm taking it as hot. Then click on next, working. Here you need to give the connectivity methods. First option is public endpoint, all networks. If you want public traffic, means you want all the requests from all the networks publicly, then you can opt this option. Otherwise, if you want to restrict it to specified virtual networks, then you can choose this option, public endpoint, selected networks. Here you should need to select the subscription and then the virtual network. Either you can take the existing virtual network or you can create it from here as well. Then we have this option, private endpoint. If you have created any private endpoints in your infrastructure, then you can restrict your storage account to that private endpoint as well. You just need to click on add, and then I'm taking the public endpoint right now. Then we have this option, network routing. So we have two routing preferences. First one is Microsoft network routing, that is the default option and that is also recommended option. And another option is internet routing. So what is the difference? Microsoft network routing will direct your traffic to Microsoft Cloud as quickly as possible from its source. But in case of internet routing, it will direct your traffic to enter Microsoft Cloud closer to your Azure endpoint. Right, so I'll choose the default option. Then click on next, data protection. Here you see soft delete feature under recovery. So soft delete is a very great feature provided by Microsoft. When, like, if I turn it on for blobs, I need to mention the days here, right? So when soft delete for Azure blob is enabled, and let's suppose you have deleted that blob today, right? So it will keep your blobs in a soft deleted state instead of being permanently erased. Means if you delete any blob today, it will still keep your blobs in soft deleted state for next 7 days. Means you can still restore your blobs from that state. So same goes with file share as well. If you click it here, so you have to mention the days. Then versioning. Versioning is, you can enable it to automatically maintain previous version of objects. If it is enabled, you can restore an earlier version of blob to recover your data if it is modified or deleted by mistake. So you can track that. Right. Then click on next, advanced. Here under security, we have this option, secure transfer required. Means right now it is enabled, means it will only consider your HTTPS request. It will reject your HTTP request. If you want to disable it, you can do that. right? Then allow blob public access. It means if it is enabled, means all the blobs under your storage account is readable publicly. Then minimum TLS version, I'll choose the updated one, version 1.2. Azure files, we are not going to perform this in our demo. Data lake, we can leave it. Then click on next tags. I always prefer to put some tags like build by Kritika, environment, just for the segregation purpose. You can mention this. Test. Yeah. Then click on next, review plus create. It will give you all the information here before creating storage account. Right, so if you want to change anything, then you just need to click on that particular tab and then you can change it. Then click on create. Initially, it will validate the inputs and then the deployment is underway. So from here, if you click on this template, it will give you an idea that what Microsoft Azure is using at the backend. It is using this template to create the storage account. So if you want to download these templates, you can click on this download. Or if you want to deploy a new storage account with the same configuration details, then you can click on deploy, and then you can probably mention the different configuration step, right? So yeah, it is created. Go to resource. Yeah, so in overview tab, you can see all the services, containers, file shares, tables, queues, right? You can see these services because you have selected the account kind as storage v2. But if you would have selected blob storage here, you won't be able to see all these services. You will get just containers, means you will just see the blob service. Right, so you can explore it more. Like if I go to this access key, it will show you the keys. Like the key one is your primary key, and then key two is your secondary key. Then if you go on this configuration tab, you can see the configuration here. You can still change it. So I was saying earlier, I was saying if you would have selected storage v1 or blob storage, then you will get an option to upgrade it to storage v2 here. You just need to click on upgrade and then save. That is it. Single click operation. So next is encryption. Storage service encryption actually protects your data at rest. It encrypts your data using Microsoft managed keys. But in some cases, if any customer want customized keys, then you can just click here, and either you can click, you can enter the key URI directly, or you can upload your key in a key vault, and then you can select that key vault and then key. Right. So then firewalls and virtual networks. Again, we have allowed access from all the networks, but if you want to restrict it, you can still click on the selected network, and then you can either create it or you can use existing virtual networks, right? Now let's talk about blobs and containers. First of all, you need to go inside this container. Click on plus container. Let's suppose I'm giving it right. This is also case sensitive, so make sure you are using small case letters. Right now, its public access level is private. I'll show you why. Then click on create. Yeah, so it's been created. So now go inside this container, upload some files. I have few files on my desktop, so I'm uploading those. So like I'm uploading this image, Azure training. So by default, Azure upload block blobs. If you click on this advanced option, it will give you this option, like if you want to select the page blob or append blob, you can always choose option from here. One more thing, you cannot change it later after uploading this to your container, right? So I'm keeping all the default settings. Upload. Yeah, so it's uploaded. So again, its change access level is private, right? So but now if you try to access this image from browser, let's take a try. If I copy this and if I hit it on browser, it will give me an error because the access level was private, right? So either what you can do is either you can just change its access level to containers, this one. Otherwise, what other option do you have is you can just create a SAS token from here, right? So you can specify the desired permissions, like if you want to give them permissions, create, delete, right? You can do that. But right now I'm keeping this as read permission. Then you can set your start and expiry time for that particular token. So then you can mention allowed IP addresses, means if you have already information about the IP addresses from where this particular blob will be accessed, you can mention that public that IP address here. Uh, Also, you can choose HTTP request as well. I'm using key 1 for this, but for generating this SAS token, but you can use key 2 as well. Then click on generate SAS token and URL. Yeah, so blob SAS URL, you just need to copy this and let's take a try now. See, we can browse it. One more thing I just wanted to tell you about access policy. If you want to delegate any access this to particular storage account to your customer or maybe your colleagues, then you can use either you can use access policy or you can use SAS token, right? So what is the limitation in SAS token is if you have generated it once, there is no option to expire it manually, right? So if in case of access policy, if I'll click on this add policy, it will ask me something like this. Read permissions, I am giving again read permissions. Then I have to mention start time, expiry time. Okay, click on OK. Then you can see this, right? So if you in future, if you will get information like this customer will not work with us now, so if you don't want them to access the storage account, then you can just go here and then click here and then delete here. You have this option in access policy. So this is the basic difference, right? So next we will talk about file share. Before proceeding to file share, I'll tell you other features and blob services. Like from here you can see you can go to your containers. Then if you want to configure a custom domain to access storage account data, then you can use this. All the things, all the steps are mentioned here already. Then data protection, if you have enabled soft delete for blobs, then you can just turn it off from here, or you can turn it off the versioning as well if in future if you don't need it. Then next is Azure CDN. If you have CDN in place in your infrastructure and you want this storage account to be as an endpoint to that CDN, then you can use this. Then a very, I would say, a very helpful life feature in Blob service is life cycle management. So what it actually does is, it is rule-based policy for general purpose V2 and blob storage accounts, right? So suppose we have a scenario where data is frequently accessed during early stages, but then after 2 weeks it is occasionally accessed, and after a month it is rarely accessed. So for early stages, I think the hot storage would be the best option. And then after 2 weeks, Cool storage would be the best option, and then after a month, archive storage would be the best option, right? So how you can manage it? You just need to add a rule here. You just need to give it a name, something, whatever you want to give it. And then also you can change its status as well. If you want to keep any existing rule, then you can just disable it for some time if you want to. So like in our case, in our scenario, so move blob to cool storage after 14 days, move blob to archive storage after 30 days, and delete blob maybe after 60 days. This is how you can manage life cycle of blobs. Right. And also if you have any blob snapshots in place, then you can also configure this maybe 10 days, and you can just review plus add. You can do this, right? So next we will talk about file share. So go to this file share, add a file share, give it a name, test fs01. It is also case sensitive again, and give it a size, like I'm giving it 20 GBs. Create. Yeah. So go inside this file share, upload some files. I'm uploading the same file again. And upload. So now I'll tell you how you can connect this file share to your Windows VM as a SMB, right? So you just need to click on connect. Here you will get the script for different operating systems, for Windows, for Linux, for Mac OS. You have the script for all the operating systems. So I am having a Windows machine, so I'll just copy it from here. The drive letter by default it is taking Z, but I can choose as per my choice. Like let's suppose I'm taking M drive, right? So but make sure this drive letter is already not used, right? So yeah, so this is my testing machine, Windows machine. So you just need to open Windows PowerShell. Let me open this file explorer first. Let me show you what already we have. So right now you can see C drive, D drive, and E. We don't have anything else, right? So you just paste that script here. Click enter. Credential added successfully. Okay,
Kritika,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Maybe what you can do is, you can close the Microsoft Team small window, so that will give us complete view. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So it is mounted successfully. So now you can see your file share here. If you go inside this, you can see that file, Azure training. This is the same file. Right, so let's suppose we are uploading something. We are uploading a new file from here. Test. Suppose. So now if you go to Azure portal, and if you refresh this file share, see, you have that file here. So this is how you can mount your file share, Azure file share, to your Windows machines. So next we will talk about file sync service. So the prerequisite for file sync services is you should have a file sync service configured on Azure portal, first thing. Then second is you need to have a storage account and a file share in place. And third is you need an on-prem server. Right, so let's search for Azure File Sync. You will get this service under my marketplace. So yeah, I'm choosing the same resource group and give it a name like AZ File Sync 01. And make sure the location would be same for your storage account and your file sync. So I have chosen East US, so I'm taking that. Tags. Okay, next review plus create. You can review the details here and click on create. It's validating the deployments. After the validation, it will create. The deployment is initialized. Yeah, so it is underway. Again, you can get the template information from here. Okay, so its deployment is succeeded. So you can go to resource. Yeah, one more thing I just want to highlight here is your file sync service would be, you can find this file sync service under storage sync service. If you will search for Azure File Sync, obviously it will redirect you to the marketplace. So that is why I'm just giving you a hint here. So right now I cannot see any sync group here, right? No registered servers. So yeah, I'm having one on-prem server. So first of all, you need to download this Azure File Sync agent. You can just click here. It will route to Microsoft official site. Click on download, and then you can select whatever OS you are using. Like in my case, I am having this 2019, so I am having this Azure File Sync agent setup, right? So let's go to our on-prem server. Here it is. So this is my File Sync agent on desktop. So first we have to install it. Click on next, accept the agreement, next. Take the default settings, next. We are not having any proxy server in place, so I'm taking the default settings, next. Microsoft update, next. This is giving you an option if you want to schedule its update. You can do that, but we don't need it for now. Click on install. It will take few minutes. Generally it take around 2-3 minutes, but it may vary. It depends on the configuration you have chosen. It is taking more time than my expectations. wrong.
Kritika, it's in progress, so probably it should work in
Yeah,
1 minute,
yeah.
I think. Yes.
Yeah, it's completed now.
Yeah.
We can click on finish and yeah, so it is taking for an update. It is already up to date. Okay, so now it is asking us to register it with Azure Cloud. So you can select Azure environment as Azure Public Cloud, but if you are using any government cloud, then you can select that. Right now we are using Azure Public Cloud, so choose this. Sign in. You need to authenticate with your Azure credentials. Like next. Credentials, sign in. Can skip for now. Yes. So now if I click on this drop down, I'll see my subscription here. Demo lab. I'll see all the resource group under this subscription. So my resource group was lab storage, storage sync service. Yeah, here it is. Click on register. Yeah, so registration successful. Now it is valid. Yeah, so network connectivity test is also passed. We are all set. You can close it. Now, if I go to my Azure portal, here it is. If you refresh it, you will see your register service. Its name, its state, its type, its OS, all the things you can see here. Now it got registered with Azure. So now next step is we need to create a sync group. You can click on this plus add. Yeah, you need to give it a name. One more thing I just want to mention you that sync group consists cloud endpoint and server endpoint. You can have one cloud endpoint in one sync group, but you can have multiple server endpoints in that sync group. Okay, so I'm giving its name like this. It is asking me for creating this first cloud endpoint. So the subscription is demo lab, storage account, you can select it. Yeah, our storage account is this. So I can choose it, and our file share was testfs01. Select it and click on create. Sync group is created successfully. So if you go inside this sync group and if you refresh this, yeah, it's still provisioning. Yeah, you can see one cloud endpoint and its provisioning status provisioning. It will take few minutes to get healthy. Yeah, so it's done. Now I just so on this on-prem server, you can see we have these drives. I'm having this data drive. So what I can do is let me create a folder here with name file sync, and let me create 1 2 files. Sorry, 01, and you can add some content. I'm from file server. Save it. Then you can create another file. Again, you can add a content. it. You can close it. Right. Now I just want to tell you, like, this file sync would be like the server endpoint. This file sync folder I want to share, and means I just want to have this file sync data to our Azure file share, right? So what you can do is you need to share this folder. You can go to the properties, sharing, advanced sharing. You can share this from here. Apply. Okay. Close. So this folder is now shared. Now you need to go to this Azure portal again. Now we have already added one cloud endpoint. Now you have to add server endpoint as well. So add server endpoint. You have to select register servers. We have only one server at the moment, so we can choose that demo v1. And then you have to specify the path that you are using for like this path, right? Copy this path and you can, I'm sorry, you can specify it here. Then cloud tiering, we are not going to talk about this in this demo. Offline data transfer, we are not going to perform this. Then you can click on this create. Now it will add your server endpoint as well in this service. Yeah, so its health is in provisioning. You can refresh it, yeah. So its health is still in pending state. It will take few minutes, I think, to get healthy. So meanwhile, what you can do is you can just navigate to your storage account and your file share. Go inside it. Yeah, it's still not here. Yeah, now you can see your files from your file server to Azure files. This is how you can use file sync service. Right, so next we will talk about, I'll tell you about Storage Explorer. This is a standalone application that is basically used to manage your storage account data. And it is available for different types of operating systems like Windows, Mac OS, Linux. You can download it from Microsoft's official site and then you can just use it. Right, okay, so I have, this was our on-prem server. Yeah. So, I am having Storage Explorer installed on my machine. So this is the icon. You can open it. You can get a download from Microsoft site and you can just install it. Yeah. So yeah, so now we have several ways to connect to Azure storage. First is you can add an Azure account, means you need to authenticate with your Azure account credentials. Means when you click on this next, it will take you to Microsoft site. Then now you have to provide your credentials here, but I'm not doing it for now. Right. Then next option is add a resource via Azure Active Directory. If you have data level permissions, then you can use this option. We are not going to perform this here.
So Kritika, just sorry to interrupt you. So
Yep.
what's the the Azure AD is doing over here? So is there a relationship between Azure AD and storage account?
Yeah, actually you need to set RBAC rules under your Azure Active Directory to access your storage. You can do that.
So basically, you're saying that now, in addition to your storage account keys or shared access signature, you
Yeah.
can also integrate your
Yeah, right, right.
storage account with Azure AD. Am I right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Okay. So
Yes.
in that case, if it is integrated with Azure AD, then we can assign permission or
Yeah,
data
right.
level permission to
Yeah.
the accounts in Azure AD,
Yeah, right.
and that's where you will use this option. So if you have a storage account where you have assigned permission via Azure AD, or you have given permission via Azure AD to users via Azure AD, then
Mhm.
you will use these options, correct?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. If you have those RBAC permissions in place, then you can use this option as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next option is you can use a connection string. I have already showed you like from where you can get your connection strings. Let me close this. Yeah. So if you go here under access keys, you can get your connection strings from here. You can just copy it and click on next. I'm adding this CS just to get it segregated, right? So you can keep any name because it is a display name, right? So click on next, click on connect. So now you can see your storage account, and if you expand it, blob containers file share, you can see all the services here as well. If you expand this blob container, you can see your container and that blob inside that container. And if you click on this file share, you can go to this file share and you can see all the files here as well, right? So the next option we can use is use a shared access signature URI. So I have already sorry. I've already showed you that how you can generate a SAS token for blobs, but you can generate SAS token for like the account level as well. Means account level means you can set the permissions. If you click on shared access signature here, then you can just add the services to which you want access, right? So like if I want to give you access on just blobs, so let me untick this. Allowed resource types, if you want to access this service, and then container, and then inside that container, that object, the permissions you can specify as per your choice. I like, let's suppose I'm keeping this read permission, and again you can set the start and expiry date here, then allowed IP addresses, same thing that
So
we have already.
so I see that we have quite far more options in SAS as compared to storage key, right? I think I can set the services, what kind of services are allowed. I can set what kind of objects or resource type is allowed. Also, I can control the permissions, right?
Yeah, right.
And in fact, I can also control for how long I'm granting this access. So
Yes.
I see a start date and expiry date. Plus, I can also control the IP addresses range, from where we can accept the traffic to this storage account. So certainly shared access signature seems to be more, giving us more options and the security options as compared to storage keys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
in storage key, we don't have all these options. So like, but the granularity that you get in shared access signature is way, way more than in case of access key.
yeah, if in case you have given someone your storage account keys, means storage account can be compromised anytime. All the services under that storage account, that person can access all services, all the data. So with this SaaS feature, you can just, you can just restrict it.
Yeah, and also one thing to, for the audience, it's in the exam, you may have questions where they say that you want to give time-bound access. Okay, so you want to give access to your data for a definite period of time, and the choices will consist of what will you use. You will use access key, will you use shared access signature. Certainly you will use shared access signature, because shared access signature gives you the expiry date, right? The time-bound access. So that's something you should keep in mind. Those kind of questions may pop up in your exam.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
So I have allowed service, like I have allowed just blob service here. So if I generate this SaaS and generate the connection string, you can copy this blob service SaaS URL, copy this and just use a shared access signature URI, click on next, paste your URI, let me add SaaS, click on next, connect. Now you can see this display name that I have set already with SaaS. I can see the blob container only. I cannot see the file share or table or queues, right? I can see just blob. This is how you can manage the level of access. So the next step is use a storage account name and its key. Yeah. So again, you just need to go to this access keys. You can get your storage account name, paste it, and then you can get this key. Display name, I would say key. Okay, click on next. If you want to use HTTP as well, then you can just tick this, but it is not recommended. So click on next, connect. Again, you will be able to see all the services under your storage account. Blob containers, your if you expand it, you can see your container and then your files under that container, your file share, expand it. Yeah. So the last option is attach a local emulator. We are not going to perform this in our demo session. So that's all for today, lab.
Okay. So okay. So we are done for today, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ashish.
Okay. Okay. So probably Neeraj, can you please let's conclude the session for today, and let's just tell our audience that what this initiative we are taking, and then how they can join the future sessions.
Sure. So let me. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, I wanted to say thank you to all of our participants, all of the audience. You have taken out time on weekends and joined our session. So about AzureTalk. So we are a community. We are Azure community, and we have been for the last 3 years. And 3 years back, I founded this community where people come together and share their knowledge on Azure. We are based on it's an instant messenger based community group. So we have more than 8,000 members, and it's based on Telegram. So Telegram app. And I highly encourage all of you to join our Telegram group, which is t.me/AzureTalk. So that's something I would encourage all of you to join our group. Once you join, you can post all your questions. You can ask questions, answers, and there are a lot of helpful members out there who help and who share their knowledge. It will not only help increase your knowledge, but also in a way that you can also answer your questions that will also help you improve your knowledge further, right? So that's something we highly encourage you. So if you want all those details, so we have three groups. One for Azure Talk, Azure, which is Azure Talk, t.me/Azure Talk. Then we have O365 Talk group, and then we have Azure DevOps Pro. So all those details you'll find if you go to azureeasy.com. On our website you'll find the details about all our group. So if you have not already joined, please, I would encourage you go there and join. Plus also if you have not signed up for our future sessions, which we are going to have. So this AZ104 has 8 sessions, and today was the 4th session. So in case you have not signed up for future sessions, please do so that you get the meeting invite and the notification. All those details you'll find on our website, azureeasy.com. So that's something I would encourage everyone to go out there. Plus, let's say if you couldn't join our past sessions and you want to go over that, so we publish all our recorded session on YouTube, which is youtube.com/Azure Talk. So you can go there, and there you will find all our recorded session. In fact, we have concluded AZ 900 sessions too. So those sessions are also we have uploaded there. So that's something you can go and check out. And AZ104. So the previous 3 sessions are also uploaded there. So that's something. Plus, we also updated with the URLs for the PowerPoint slides, all those. So you can go and check those details in our YouTube channel. Now, having said that, if you have any questions, anything, please feel free to post those questions in our Telegram group, which is again is highlighted over here, which is t.me/AzureTalk. In case we couldn't answer your questions today, so feel free to join this group and then post your questions there. If you're interested, our LinkedIn coordinates are here. If you want to connect with us, please feel free to do so, and we will be more than happy to build the connection. So this is my LinkedIn, Neeraj Kum. So you can go linkedin.com/in/Neeraj Kum, and you will be able to connect with me. Similarly for Vipin, you can go linkedin.com/in and Vipin Kumar Jha. So that's how you will connect. And if you want to connect with Kritika, you can connect the same with the Kritika Gupta. So overall, I really want to say thank you to everyone, including our speaker and Ashish. It couldn't have been possible without you. We all work as a team. It's not one man show or one person effort. We all come together as a team. A lot of team members have worked in the background. You would have seen AzureTalk team members. So I really appreciate, and I really want to thank all of the AzureTalk core team members, and for the work that you have been doing. Again, it's a non-profit. We don't make any money. We don't take any money. We decided we will start this series for Azure certification to help people who have lost their job in COVID. Because of COVID, a lot of people have lost their jobs. So we said, is there something that we can do as a community? How can we give back to the community? And that's when we decided, that's when this idea came up that we should start certification series. And we have already concluded AZ 900 and AZ 104. Today was the 4th session. We have 4 more sessions. And then we are also going to start certification track for Azure DevOps, which is AZ 400, and Azure Architect. So keep an eye, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also just subscribe to our newsletter on azureeasy.com, and you will get the details, and keep checking out. And don't forget to join the Telegram group, which is t.me/AzureTalk. Once again, I want to thank everyone, including our organizer, speaker, and the audience. I really appreciate being on the weekends. You had spared 3 hours of your time, and then you joined this session. So I really want to thank everyone. So thank you everyone, and thank you Ashish, thank you Kritika, and thank you Vipin for delivering a session today, and we really appreciate your time and effort. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you everyone. Yeah, really nice session. So probably if you have not registered for the session, please register. Next weekend we will meet again at 7 p.m. IST, 9:30 EST. Till then, goodbye, good day, have a great week ahead. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right, thank you. Bye.